What is a CLP Clavinova? CLP, I like to think that it stands for Legitimate Acoustic Piano Alternative. There are 7 models of CLP. There's 5 uprights, similar to the one you're looking at here, and there are 2 grands. Truth is, CLP Clavinovas are trusted by music educators. In fact, most universities in this country have a teaching lab absolutely full of CLP digital pianos. And many piano teachers have a CLP in their studio in addition to their prized acoustic piano. So why has the CLP series earned such widespread acceptance? Well, first and foremost, it's a piano. That's the focus of a CLP Clavinova. Not just CLP Clavinova, but all Clavinovas. But the CLP is really known for the fact that it looks like a piano, it sounds like a piano, and it feels like a piano. It looks like a piano, first of all, because it's got a full-size cabinet, complete with the slow close fall board, just like fine grand pianos. It comes in a range of finishes, including, in this case, matte black, but also polished ebony is absolutely gorgeous. Comes in white, matte, and also polished white. Really nice looking color. There's also rosewood, and a new one called white birch. Something that's really popular with interior decorators is gray and beige. Some people call it greige, but that's what our white birch looks like. You gotta see it. All CLPs include a matching bench, 88 full-size keys at the exact same height as you would expect on an acoustic piano, and 3 pedals that function exactly like a grand piano, not an upright. So I think we'd agree it looks like a piano, but how do I make the claim that it sounds like a piano? That's a tall order. Well, the CLP Clavinova is a high-resolution, high-definition recording of a 9-foot grand. Check this out. Here's the CFX 9-foot grand. There's a lot going on there. Not only is there a CFX in here, but there's also a Bösendorfer 9-foot grand. Ooh, already a little different sound. You know, Bösendorfer only makes 300 pianos a year. It's hard to believe that you're getting a high-resolution, high-definition recording of one of those 300 pianos. Some people refer to the Bösendorfer sample as a more European sound compared to the CFX. All I know is having the personality of both pianos built into a CLP is an amazing experience. Like an acoustic piano, the CLP responds to your playing in the following way. Of course, if you're going to play softly, if you're going to play piano, you're going to get a mellow sound. If you play forte, you're going to get a more bright sound. So of course, loud, soft, bright, mellow, that's all part of the experience. And even though there are no strings in this instrument, the CLP acts as though there are. And the best way to demonstrate that to you is to show you string resonance on a digital piano. How's that possible? Well, when you play the notes on an acoustic piano, not only are those strings ringing, but if you hold down the damper pedal, other strings are ringing in harmonic resonance with that. I can show it to you. Let's hold down 2 notes without making the hammers hit the strings. So the dampers are free to let those strings, virtual strings, vibrate. If I play a chord right there, those pitches will activate the pitches in these exposed strings. Watch. That C chord is coming out of those strings. One more time. That's all done with modeling. Yamaha samples or records the art forms in the form of a CFX and a Bösendorfer, and then they model the resonance. What about when you use headphones? This is a Yamaha first and an exclusive. If you were to put the headphones in with those samples or those recordings were made with microphones where the speakers were going to be when the instrument is playing back. But when headphones are on, those speakers are right next to your head, so they're in a different position. Yamaha, therefore, created binaural sampling. Binaural sampling is recording that acoustic piano with a microphone in the shape of a human head. One microphone here, one microphone here. When you plug in those headphones, that new sample comes through there. It's amazing. I've seen this played by so many people. People will start playing with the headphones on and say, "You can hear that, right?" I said, "No, you're the only one who can hear it. And they have to pull them off and play to say, oh, wow, it sounds like I'm not wearing headphones. What's amazing now is we did a binaural sample of the CFX and a binaural sample of that Bösendorfer. What an experience. We've covered how it looks like a piano. We've covered how it sounds like a piano. The last one, let's talk about the touch of the piano, how it feels like a piano. Just lay your hands on the keys themselves, synthetic ivory key tops. It's sort of a porous feeling. If you're perspiring even a little bit, it feels very natural on your fingers and your hands. The black keys are synthetic ebony, but they have an added feature. If you look carefully and you actually feel them, you can feel and see the wood grain like you used to see in ebony wood. What about the inside of the keys? On many model Clavinovas, we include real wood on the inside of the keys. Why? Well, first of all, that makes the inertia, the weight of the key, the same as an acoustic piano. If you don't have wood on the inside, what's in there? It would be hollow. And if it's hollow, you're not going to get the vibrations that would come through a nice solid piece of wood. So it's more than just a cosmetic look for having the wood on the inside of the keys. It has an actual function. Some models also put in counterweights in those keys. That allows you to play a piano softly with more control. Think about it. We'll be talking in a moment about the different size hammers in here. If you have a big hammer down here and you're hitting the key, well, if you try to play softly, ooh, that's a little more difficult when you've got the weight of a hammer. Counterweights in there are simply there to, like a seesaw. If you got a 100-pound person here and a 150-pound person here, a 100-pound person is going to have to do a little extra work to lift up that seesaw, but if you give that 50 pounds to the 100-pound person, then suddenly it's nice and easy to move. That's why it's easier to play a piano with counterweights softly, much easier. Graded hammers. We have different size hammers, just like an acoustic piano. Up here, the hammers are small because the strings are small. Down here, you've got copper wound strings on an acoustic piano, so you've got a bigger hammer. I can actually feel the difference. Take a bunch of them and put them together. Okay, let's see what that feels like. And if I do it here, oh wow, I can definitely feel the difference in the inertia and the weight of those hammers. Finally, in terms of touch, the Clavinova has the same key repetition as a grand piano. You will outplay any available upright piano with a Clavinova action. Let's play middle C here. Play a note. On an upright piano, if I were to not completely release the key, let's say I go about halfway and I try to play that note again on an upright, I didn't hear anything. That's because the action was not able to reset. On a grand piano, there's a repetition bar, there's some other things in there, the hammer is mounted horizontally, there's a variety of different reasons, but if I do the same thing, play that note, and I don't release it the whole way, on a grand piano, guess what? It will play again even though I didn't release it. So you will outplay anyone who's playing an upright piano when it comes to key repetition. If we're going to talk about touch, we can't just talk about the fingers, we got to also talk about our feet. Look at the pedals here. CLP 800 series now has grand piano shaped pedals. They're more flared out, a little more contoured like an acoustic grand piano. The other thing that's really cool about these pedals, when I push this down, it's variable resistance. When I first start pushing it right in this area, it feels about the same. There's nothing special going on. But if I start going down a little lower, oh my gosh, I'm starting to feel a little more resistance. You know why? Because at that point on a grand piano in this range, you're lifting up and down the actual dampers. Another new feature that Yamaha just introduced is when you release the pedal like this, it's easier to release it than it was to push it down. That's called hysteresis. Don't need to talk about the meaning of that word, but it's simulating on an acoustic piano how gravity is helping you release that pedal. Yamaha figured out how to do it in a digital piano. Now, so far I've been comparing the CLP Clavinova to an acoustic piano, how it's like an acoustic piano. Now I'm going to be talking about the benefits of the CLP Clavinova as a digital piano. And the three biggies are, it never needs to be tuned, you can play it with headphones, and it's easy to move. No tuning. To tune a piano, an acoustic piano, it's about $150. Most manufacturers recommend you tune a piano twice a year. That's $300. Times 5 years, that's about $1,500 that you'll save if you purchase a digital piano over an acoustic piano. headphones. We already talked about the new technology to improve that experience, but the actual headphone functionality is very important for families. Now you might think, you put on the headphones so that the person practicing doesn't bother the rest of the house. To me, it's the other way around. I put on the headphones so that I can practice without people listening to me. I put on the headphones so the rest of the world doesn't bother me. And by the way, there are 2 headphone jacks in there, so you can share your music with 2 people with their own set of headphones at the same time. Finally, Clavinovas are easy to move. Between 100 and 200 pounds, maybe a little more for the grands. You don't need to hire a separate piano mover if you ever decide to relocate. Now, in addition to the 3 biggies, no tuning, headphones, and easy to move, there's some other features that are really quite appealing on a CLP. One of it has to do with there are lots of other sounds besides the piano sound on here. Yamaha is the largest musical instrument manufacturer in the world. 1 out of 4 musical instruments are made by Yamaha. Of course, Yamaha is going to put those additional sounds in the CLP. So let me go through just a couple of them here. Under the CFX and Bösendorfer, we simply hit voice. Now, let's go down to electric piano. How about a vintage EP? Or how about the famous Yamaha DX7 electric piano sound? Ooh, I love that sound. It brings you back to the 80s. How about some great organ sounds? Here's a nice organ principal. These are all high-resolution, high-definition recordings of these actual instruments. We've even got other sounds like harpsichords. And we've got the harp. That's the easiest demo that I do right there. And vibes. Marimba, a little bit of magic there. And celesta. So all these sounds are built in. You can even combine sounds. Let's say I have the piano, simply hit dual. It automatically selects the strings when you do layer, because that's what people like to play. Imagine a student playing along and you're learning a song, just adding another sound is a lot of fun. You can also split the voice. So if I hit it one more time, we've got the piano on the right, bass in the left. You can do anything you want in terms of changing the sound on the right hand, changing the sound on the left hand, and you can even combine all of them together. Layer in the right, piano and strings, with something in the left hand. Very flexible. In the CLP digital piano, Yamaha is incorporating a new concept in the industry referred to as grand acoustic imaging. If you stand in front of an acoustic piano and you listen to it being played, where is that sound coming from? Well, the simple fact is it's coming from, I like to refer to as everywhere. It's not coming from one specific location in that piano. The strings are vibrating, the soundboard's amplifying sound. The cabinet is even participating in the sound dispersion. The point is, it's an indirect sound. It's coming from all around you. It's very immersive. Yamaha has incorporated an all-new speaker layout to simulate this indirect sound. For example, the CLP 885 right here, if I put my hand here, I can feel the speaker cloth, but there's also an opening in the back. There's now bi-directional horns. Some sound comes out here, some sound comes out the back, hits the wall, comes back. It's an indirect sound. Wonderful way to create that immersive effect. There's also new diffusers that Yamaha has created that diffuses the sound in a more natural way and a more even way to get that more immersive sound. And last but not least, some of the speakers are now mounted vertically in the cabinet. Normally, digital piano manufacturers put the speakers, and the speakers are shooting out this way. Great sound for the audience, but what about the person playing the piano? Yamaha is now mounting those speakers vertically, and then there's a diffuser that sends that sound out in 360-degree direction for that indirect sound. Bottom line is, indirect sound is a critical point in making a digital piano sound more acoustically authentic. I'm now going to talk about some very important features in here that are very near and dear to the sound engineer of the Piano Guys, Al Vanderbeek. He loves the fact that the CLP Clavinova records two different ways. Audio recording is what most people know about in this world, but fewer people know about a thing called MIDI recording. I love MIDI recording because I think of it as a microphone-free type of recording. What do I mean? One button. I'm literally hitting one button on the CLP. It's ready to record in MIDI. When I hit a key or a pedal, it'll start recording. Watch this. I'm going to talk while I'm recording. I'm talking. I stop the recording, and when I play it back, I won't talk. It didn't capture my voice because no microphone was involved. Simple as that. That's what MIDI recording is doing, is it's without a microphone because it's not recording sound. What's it recording? It's recording the keystrokes. Hobbyists and musicians alike like MIDI recording because it's such a pure sound. You don't get all of these external sounds like the dog barking and stuff like that. And it's a direct recording of your keystrokes. Now that being said, the CLP Clavinova does have audio recording. Instead of pressing record and letting go, hold it down a little bit and you get an option in here for audio recording without a microphone. This is going to surprise you. I'll talk here. It won't get my voice because it's not using a microphone, but it's creating an audio file, a wave file, using the high resolution, high definition sample of those 9-foot grands. MIDI recording, audio recording. You can even record in MIDI, and the CLP Clavinova will convert that MIDI recording to an audio recording for you right in the instrument. For most people, audio recording is the way to go because that's how you're going to share your music on socials and through CDs and Spotify, etc. Great sound. Yamaha has even added some value and some technology to something as basic as the metronome. There's a metronome built right into the CLP. Why is a metronome important? Well, for students, of course, it forces them to count. Kids in band and orchestra learn to count better because no one wants to play during the rests, right? But the metronome is not too exciting to play along with. The rhythm, however, is just another metronome, but it's more fun. You're playing along with a drummer. There's even a bass player playing a bass line to what I'm playing. The Clavinova is figuring out what chords I'm playing. Just makes it more fun, more interesting. And when you're done, if you shut it off, the drummer even goes, "Thanks guys, take a break." Now one subtle little detail, I've been using a camera over the keys so you can see the notes that I'm playing and the buttons that I'm pushing on the panel. There's a really cool feature that the panel will automatically shut off so that when it's off and you're not touching the buttons, it looks like a regular cheek block to a piano. A larger cheek block here, a smaller cheek block here, just like an acoustic piano. Check this out. Look at that. If you're considering a CLP Clavinova, I think you realize by now that Yamaha is using a lot of technology here, but it's being directed towards improving and enhancing that acoustic piano image. But don't feel left out if you're considering the CLP when it comes to everyday technologies like an iPad or a Droid or an iPhone. Seems like everything has an app these days. Yamaha took a very unique approach to this that I think is amazing. They created one app that works on basically everything that they make. It's called Smart Pianist. And you can tell by looking at it right away, it's visual, it's exciting, and if you put up the sheet music holder here, there's even clips that hold the iPad into place. And look at that. It brings the operation of the CLP front and center. I've connected the Smart Pianist app via wireless Bluetooth and wireless audio. Very colorful. I can put the lid up and down. I can change the environments in the background. This just makes it fun. But Smart Pianist adds additional functionality. If you load a song that's in the Clavinova and you turn on the song area, look what it does. It'll create a score of that song. It'll even score what you play. Let's hit record here, turn on the metronome, And I'm just going to play something on the keyboard. 2, ready, go. If we stop recording and I tell it to score it, let's separate the right and the left hands. Look at that. Here's a really cool feature. Smart Pianist allows you to load your own PDFs into the app. Do you know I was at an orchestra the other day, and instead of sheet music, papers, 90% of the musicians had an iPad, and they went out and bought a Bluetooth pedal and were turning pages with the Bluetooth pedal. You don't need to do that here because Smart Pianist allows you to load the PDF into the app, and then you use the built-in pedal of a Clavinova to turn those pages. Really cool. That combined with the fact that the Smart Pianist app is free to anyone who has a Clavinova, that is even better. And finally, Yamaha has implemented some amazing artificial intelligence technologies to the Smart Pianist app. This is going to surprise you. When you load your PDFs into the Smart Pianist app, it will read the PDF and create MIDI data from it so that you can play the right hand while the Clavinova is playing the left hand from nothing but a piece of sheet music. And there's even a function in here for maybe a hobbyist who walks around all day with music in their pocket from their smart device. It'll take the audio that's currently in your smart device, evaluate the audio, and it'll create a chord chart so that you can play along with the music that's already in your device. Let me show you an example. There's the audio, there are the chords. You got to try out Smart Pianist app because it does some things that we weren't even aware was possible years ago. Well, thanks for taking the time to watch this video on the CLP Clavinova. All Clavinovas essentially include the features of a CLP because it looks like a piano, it sounds like a piano, it feels like a piano. John Schmidt himself told me personally that the Clavinova sound and feel more like an acoustic piano than any other digital piano he has ever played. CBPs and CSPs with more features still have these basic piano-like features. However, for many, especially those looking for an alternative to a traditional acoustic piano, the CLP includes just the right amount of technology for their needs.